And then I make sure that I have all my agenda set up for the next week to make sure within 72 hours that I'm physically going to see them. And it's a phone call, not an email, not a text, because it needs to be actionable.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and the wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Absolutely. If your main value is integrity, you want people, your partners, the main value has to be integrity. You have to match exactly you believe, because otherwise the partnership is not gonna work. And don't get me wrong, there are people out there that they have different values where integrity maybe is not the main core of their answers, and then they also will find partners that integrity is not the main core value, and then we get along just fine. But for you to bring people to what we call it, to your house, to, like you said, a business partner, like a marriage, you have to be able that make sure that this partner meet and believe the same main core values that you as a human being believe. And talking about the main core values, one of the main core values that we have in our organization, Speakers Ideas, is a speed of implementation. So the other day, no, like 2 3 days ago, we were working as a partnership somehow with the company that to help us accelerate some part of the business, and they were amazing, but they're too slow. So I need to have a conversation with them and say, look, guys, it's not that you're not fantastic, you're amazing. But the thing is that if you guys are slow, this doesn't match with the core value of anything that we do in this organization, because everybody that work in my organization, they fly, and there is two things. This is not my job, doesn't exist on my company, but also the split of implementation. All our team know that. So Kevin, you touch in this space as well, to implement fast versus planning. We're talking about the Mike Tyson and everything. Uh, so in the reality, the faster that you implement, being an entrepreneur is a skill. The more you practice, the better you become. And the failing, the faster you fail, the faster you turn back up yourself, and somehow, without knowing, you're developing the skill of being an entrepreneur. However, this speed of implementation, I know, because you're talking, and I'm thinking, this is me. This is me. Kevin is talking to me. This is me. This speed of implementation, Kevin, especially when you start in a business, you don't have so much experience. You have your first product. Nobody wants to buy anything from you because nobody knows you. You're new in the market. And then your supplier want to charge you a lot of money because, again, nobody knows you. So let me charge you more. And then you're trying to find your first client, and then you're wearing all the hats, growing this business, and then all these negative emotion, Kevin, keep accumulating. You're developing this skill. You have to fail and go back, get setback from everyone, not from the client, not from the supplier, not from this, not from that, and you need to keep pushing and pushing. So all these negative emotion, somehow, even if you make a million, because it's happened to me, even you make that million and you have it, still if these negative emotions are there and you don't manage to release them, this emotional pain can become a physical pain. You can end up overweight. You can end up with a heart attack. You can end up with cancer. And don't get me wrong, how many millionaires we know that they have millions in the bank account and they die out of the heart attack or they commit suicide because still those negative emotions are there, and somehow the entrepreneur didn't manage to let that go and become from emotional pain to physical pain and have an impact on their life. Look at me, I'm slightly overweight because building my business, exactly, creating this skill, I have very unhealthy way of, I didn't have time for anything. So I was starting 5 a.m., working until 10, and then I ordered a big meal in a restaurant, and I was doing this for years, yeah. And so the money was there, but all this anxiety, all this pain, everything is here, and that also might lead you to take wrong business decisions sometimes. So when, Kevin, you find out on yourself, you that has own several business, no one is already a lot of pressure, it might several at the same time. So you have to be able to handle a lot of pressure. It's like a pressure cooker 10 times because you own several business. So when do you find out that you really like, hey, I need to look after myself, because if I'm not careful, this business is gonna kill me. When I started my property business, everybody want to speak with me. All the clients have like 177 tenants. All the thing, everyone said, these people gonna kill me. I'm only one person. They don't care. The tenant call you 1 a.m. Everybody don't care. They have so many, and I'm only one person. I'm thinking, if I don't take control of this, these people gonna kill me. They don't let me sleep. So when do you find out, Kevin? They say, okay, I had to stop here and review, because if I don't take control of me, I'm gonna die with this thing.
So, great question. But the biggest thing that you have to really think about this for a second, think about this: tension relieving or goal achieving. Now, there's a reason why we talk about the 0 to 1 million, why that is difficult, because it's a sole proprietor. The sole proprietor has the hardest time because he has to find himself as this guy doing this, gets to the million. Now he can hire one or two. The micromanaging of an individual is more difficult, and for a entrepreneur, the leader, okay, to be able to step back and allow the people who you hired to do their job. So when you use the example of you're only one person, the difference is that if you were to sell your business today, so people always say, sell your business, build to sell. Realistically, when you go and sell your business, it's not going to be worth whatever you thought it was, and they're not going to give you what it's thought it is. The bottom line is about you in the business. Now, are they buying the business? Because if they're buying the business, they're buying you as the business. You're going to teach them. Now, if you're all about the business, where they're putting your time and energy, they got to talk to you. That's not a business. Okay, that's your job. Okay, regardless if it has zeros on it and all that in a bag of chips, it has that. The hardest part when growing, when we look as an entrepreneur, is the first million is the hardest, the rest are easy. The first one is hiring your first employee is the hardest one versus hiring 300. And I have over 300. So as a whole, it gets easier, and it's called the lazy CEO. Okay. The idea is you have to make sure you're the visionary over top of the company, looking in and looking down and seeing people, understanding what they're doing, and you have people in place that are to do their jobs. And now we talk about sales, and you were mentioning about sales, and you're going in there, you're doing this, and you're working your hardest, and the money's going up. I'm going to give you an analogy, okay, as keeping it simple and keeping real. The most important thing you do is you have your heart. Yes, I don't have time to work out. No, but you'll have time when you got in a car accident and you're in the hospital for 6 months, and you'll figure out, can your team sustain your business?
Absolutely.
That's when you know you have a great business. So think of it like this. Now, I'm going to use this analogy for you. As greatest success stories in the world, the greatest person in the world, about goal-oriented and making money, and what does it truly take to me? It's like this. There's two horses in a horse race, and the one horse wins by a nose. That horse that won by a nose gets 10 times the earnings, and the other horse only gets a steak knife. Basically, that's it. But he wins 10 times the earnings. Now, does it mean the horse that won by a nose is 10 times better than the other horse? No. That day, that race, he was only a difference, but he won 10 times the earnings. Just like that salesperson. Okay, smart risk, great risk, and dumb risk. Now, the thing about it as an entrepreneur, where are you spending your time? What are you doing? Is it tension relieving, goal achieving? Now, are you the jack of all trades master? And I've got all these one-liners, and I call you a star salesman. He's over here, he's over here, he's over here, he's over here. No focus, connect the dots, he's a star. But the idea is that now let's get ourselves driven, so we're focused, so we're not a sniper attack in business. We're not a shotgun attack, we're a sniper attack. And the greatest thing is that when I talk about the horses by one nose, now he wins 10 times the earnings. He's not 10 times better. So think about it this. At the end of the day, you're tired, you're exhausted. But do you go to the bar to meet your buddies? Do you go for a steak because you're hungry? You got all that, I'm done, I'm beat. I had the last it was terrible. The day was absolutely done. But what happens is you want to make that one last call. That's the call that you don't want to go to. That's the call that you regret. It's supper time. Oh, no one's going to be there. Everything that tells you not to do it, that's the difference. That hair difference, that one difference gives you 10 times the earning. That one call will give you $100 million or 20 million, whatever that is. And you do that every day, that one little thing that puts you aside from your competitors, or as an entrepreneur, when you talk about sales, meeting your customers. Yeah, well, I got to go and do this. I got to do a lead generation. there's actually ways that actually, if you're looking for your customer, it doesn't matter what the widget is, and I don't call it hacks, proper preparation prepares proper performance. Everything that you do and every person you meet has to have action to it, meaning you have to have intentions. When you leave your house in the morning, you have to have intentions of what you're going to do. You don't go to an event without having intentions. Oh, I'm going to go to this event. I'm going to meet this person, this person, this person. You have to have intention. You have to know who's at the event. You have to know you have 30 seconds on your elevator pitch. You have to know exactly who you're seeing, how you're seeing them. Because usually I'll use an event will be a 1 hour meet and greet at the beginning. Then they're going to have dinner. They'll have a speaker or whatever that's going to be. You need to be in it in the beginning, know who's going to attend. And then by the time the speaker comes, whoever they are, you leave. When alcohol is served, you leave. You do not become the story. You become the action. So
Absolutely.
As you meet the person, yes. And once you see the guy and you've had that conversation, you'll have your wingman with you. Could be your wife, could be your partner, could be anybody. And everything is choreographed like a dance. You only spend 1 minute with somebody, finish it with a call to action as I'm going to follow up with a phone call, with an action plan in 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, that you have an action plan. Then you leave. You're allowed to meet probably about 10 to 15 max. That would be your max to do it. You can't sit and have a conversation, buy the guy a drink and talk about small talk. You're there for business. You're there to be the greatest person you ever want to be. So if you're all of a sudden spending your time, well, I got to go to this event, you're doing it wrong. I can go into an event. We know exactly who's there, how they're there. I get there 1 hour before the event. I look at the list, who's there, find out where they're sitting, put my card there, and I'll do a magic trick. Hey, my card will be on it. And then I make sure that I have all my agenda set up for the next week to make sure within 72 hours that I'm physically going to see them. And it's a phone call, not an email, not a text, because it needs to be actionable. And then all of a sudden you close like that. Boom, you win. What else can you ask for?
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.